All right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all the latest about the outstanding drama series, comedy series, and limited series that are nominated at the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards. From too many hosts with exactly the same opinions, I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is not here tonight. Well, they're technically here, but it's really going to be too many hosts with exactly the same opinions, because in this special episode, you will be hearing our original takes and reviews on some Emmy-nominated shows. Let me explain a little bit here. Last month, in episode 391, we reacted to the nominees for the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards. And then at the end of the month, we will make our predictions. But this week, it's our annual Emmy coverage clip show. To make sure you are ready for the big ceremony on September 12th, we will flash back and look at some of the series nominated for drama series, comedy series, and limited series that we have covered in the last year on the podcast. Tonight, we're going to start off with one of our favorite shows, and it is the one leading in total nominations this year with 25, and that's HBO's Succession. In this third season, it was Logan versus Kendall, and at the Emmys, it will imitate art when we will see Brian Cox take on Jeremy Strong again in the outstanding lead actor race. And that's not all for the family drama. The show will also have 3 supporting actors, 2 supporting actresses, 3 guest actresses, and 4 guest actors battling against each other for an Emmy statue. Plus, the series received a writing nomination, 3 directing nominations, and of course 1 for drama series. We discussed the series twice for season 3, once in October for the premiere, and again in December to preview the season finale. Tonight, we're going to head to the former, where we discuss the premiere in episode 361. It's finally here. Succession. Season 3, the big premiere, Sunday night, October 17th. After a 2-year absence, of the Emmy award-winning drama series is back, picking right up where the season 2 cliffhanger left off. It's civil war within the Roy family, and battle lines are drawn. Who will win? The Waystar Roy co-founder Logan, or his troubled son Kendall? Here we go, Kyle. The season 3 premiere. You pumped? You excited? How was it?
Yeah, I was really excited for it. Excited that it's back. It has been a while, and it picked up right where it left off. The writing is still so good. There's so many good lines. And even I follow like No Context Succession on Twitter, and it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that line. And a lot of them, looking back, it's like in the context. When you think about it in the context of the show, it's like, damn, that was a good line. So the writing is still fantastic. All the characters, you gotta like love them or love to hate them, whatever. We all have our favorites with the show, but yeah, I'm just happy it's back. Definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been a wild ride with Succession in the podcast. I remember, I think when we all watched the premiere way back when, we were like,
should we care about these rich people?
We care about? And then, but as the season went on, people were talking about it. I gave it another shot, and then when season 2 came, I think I was like, a season 2 premiere, I think we were all back in. We were like, okay, we're in now.
Yeah.
This is working. And then I recently did a rewatch of 1 and 2 to get ready for season 3 because it's been so long. And just, you see it from a whole new side. You see all the seeds that they planted. You see how the characters kind of morph into what they are. And I have way more respect for it. Even I already had a high bar for it. I even have more respect after watching the cliffhanger, the seasons, because everything that they built up to, that cliffhanger at the end of season 2, we're going to get paid off now. This feels like almost like later Breaking Bad, where the House of Cards was set. It was built through those 2 seasons, and now we're knocking it down. Now everything is, here we go. This is it. This is what the show's been building to. And even this first episode, it felt, I mean, they were constantly moving, literally and figuratively, with the edit. Logan's team was going from, the helicopter to the van to the plane, and they were making deals along the way. And it was just, it gave us that energy the whole time that the episode just flew by. You felt the frantic energy that they got this bombshell dropped on them, and they're feeling it. We're feeling it, moving right in. And you bring up some of the lines, and already like the comedy I thought was it was hitting immediately. We were right into it. For me, of course, with Greg, cousin Greg.
He is failing upwards so much, dude. He's nothing more than a hype man at this point. Like
he's the media man. Monitor, actually.
Yeah.
Not the hype. Yeah.
Yeah, the hype man who like is just there just to give like the rapper his due, you know? Because that's all he's there for Kendall. Because Kendall knows he's pretty much useless.
Yep. Yeah, he put him on like social media duty, and he's like, "Oh, you're trending above tater tots. The Pope follow you? Well, a Pope." And then, like when he's walking to the car after the big press conference there, and he's like, no comment, and he's like, you don't have to say no comment. Like, that is the comment, is no comment. But and then he compares this situation of them in the car to the famous OJ situation with the Bronco chase.
A good line.
And we get, I think it's like, oh, actually, it's not really that, because none of us killed anyone. And then we get a line from Kendall, which kind of leads into my discussion of Kendall here. Who says I didn't kill anyone, with a weird smile.
A smile, yeah. So Kendall, I was a big fan of Kendall, like, character the past couple of seasons. But this episode, I was really not a fan of Kendall. Like, because I saw a little bit of his dad coming out, and especially in the PR pitch. But this line specifically, I mean, this line in and of itself, mixed with the fact that his father got him out of trouble, and he thinks that he's going to take over this company. All his dad has to go is, oh, you went the nuclear option? I'm going to go the nuclear option. No one's having this thing. Yeah. You know?
Because it's a very, very complicated issue at hand here. Yeah. With that. And like to bring that up, it's like, yeah, Logan has this kind of trump card. It's like, I know what you did in the season 1 finale. But then I was thinking about it. That would also implicate Logan and his cover-up, which is in this situation they are in now. That's another cover-up on top of the cover-ups he's in trouble for right now. So it's just like, oh my God, they're in so much hot water. Yeah. But to see this kind of change in Kendall, because all of season 2, he's this sad puppy. He's just deflated. And you kind of see it like when he's told in the finale of season 2, it's like, you're not getting this. You know, you're not going to become the CEO. You're going to have to take the fall for this. Sorry, but that's the way it is. You're not a killer. And then immediately he does the press conference and kind of loses like the stutter that he has. And he delivers just boom, 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 this press conference. And he becomes that killer. And you see like this transformation in the opening bathroom shot. Like, you know, when he's in the bathroom, he kind of has that little, what did I do? And then he psychs himself up. And then for the rest of the episode, he's this, he thinks he's the man. He's an addict that now is getting high off of this. Yeah. He's the hubris. He feels unstoppable. He's interrupting that marketing pitch. He's inviting his new girl to his ex-wife's place where he has now set up shop. Like,
I know. Wait, so remind me again, was the scene where he's in the bathtub, was that after I
believe it was after the press conference. Okay. In the season 2. I believe that's supposed to be like sequential. Because it's like he just delivered all this, like this is like, there's no one doing this. Yeah. You said it.
Because to me, there's still a little bit of, like, he can't even talk to his father on the phone. Yeah. He has to go through, like, an assistant of some sort. It's like you still can't handle not talking to your dad. So he still can't hang with the beast. And that's why I don't know if he's going to come out.
Oh, he's not. And the thing is, it's like we've seen this before in the series with him and his addiction. He's only going to crash and burn. He's at this high point right now, but it's going to end. I mean, it's like, he did kill someone. Logan knows that. Logan's fighting against him. Like, will he use that card? Like, there's so much going on here. And you could see a little bit with when he talks to his ex-wife, he goes there. He's like, "Oh, do you see my performance?" She's like, "I kind of been busy." You almost see a little bit of the deflation there. It's like, wait, what? You didn't? Like you could tell he wanted the attention. He wanted to feel you did it. Like he wanted the oomph, but he didn't get it from her. And it's just like, uh-oh. But yeah, it's a very complicated situation he's in. Because like there's the line in the trailer where it's like, you want to take your dad down without implicating yourself, but also you want to do it without damaging the company that you would lose at a shareholder meeting. Like it's a tough game of chess that he's in right now. And but that's one side. Yeah. And then you got Logan. And he's going to be stepping back as CEO.
Yeah, stepping back.
At least on paper. He's still going to be the puppet master that he is. But we have who's the successor? Who's going to be the new CEO? And everyone's kind of pitching themselves in the meeting.
Which is like, why do people do this? They like throw themselves out there, and it's like, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much he says like three things where it's like, he wants a kid, one of his kids. He wants someone with experience, and he wants a woman. Well, it's like, between the three candidates, they all kind of have one or two of those things. They don't have all three. And the candidates really gets down to is Shiv, Roman, and Jerry. Those are the three candidates kind of going into this CEO battle. What were you expecting with those three? We'll eventually get to who it is, but what did you think it was going to be?
I just always think... I don't know what it is with the kids. The kids will never be able to come out from under their dad's shadow and be their own person. And so I think the one that's most likely to do that would be Shiv. Roman is just a no-go, and his dad knows it. And how he was talking to how Roman was talking to his dad, he talked himself out of the job because his dad was like, you knew immediately. He's like, he's talking in circles. He doesn't have the killer instinct that his dad wants. It's like, dude, you're, it's like, dad, I think it could be this or maybe this or, if you think so. It's just
early, he was like early Kendall, and it's he's like, I want it, but it's like very childish. And then I love it. As soon as like he hangs up, it's like, all right, Roman's out.
Yeah, because, yeah. They don't have the juice. And I think Shiv is the one most like her dad, which would seem the most obvious choice. But there's something there that's holding Logan back because...
Yeah, because, we've seen some mistakes that Shiv has made throughout. I saw it more in a rewatch of season 2 that she really let it kind of go to her head. The whole, like, possibility of her getting it. I couldn't tell for a while if Logan was actually just stringing her along, to get her, because she was in politics, she was working for somebody who was going to run for president that was against all the politics that Logan, has. So it's like, I want to break this up, but the only way I could do that is if I offer you the job here to get you away from that job. And so it's like he's playing chess with her. Yeah. And I think that's going to come back to bite him because, like, in this episode, one of Shiv's jobs was to meet with Lisa, the lawyer that she used to know. Completely blows up that. Like, it's just a terrible job at trying to get Lisa on their side. And Lisa ends up going with Kendall. So it's like, well, she got a strike. Roman got a strike. It's going to end up being Jerry. Jerry's the winner and all this. But I think this is going to create enemies within the family because there's this civil war that's brewing. Tom and Shiv, they did not end season 2 well together. And I thought maybe at the end of season 2, maybe he's going to jump ship and go with Kendall. But now, after this first episode, I'm going that Shiv is going to be going with Kendall because I think she's going to feel just burned by her dad again after the multiple times of not getting this CEO job.
Yeah, and Kendall's already reached out to Shiv.
And she's missing at the end of the episode. Where is she going? She's going to Kendall. I think that's the thing.
And here's the thing also that I want to bring up about the lawyer, in a line that the lawyer says, which is a weird way to phrase this. So the lawyer said to Kendall, yeah, so with your sister, we have like a friend relationship.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? It makes it sound like there's something more going on there. Like, were they in some kind of like relationship? Were they, kind of like screwing around with each other?
Or was it
like,
actually just more of like an acquaintance relationship? Because it's like, you could just say we were friends, but it's like, we kind of had a friend relationship. It's like, were you actually friends, or were they like fake friends that were just like pretended to be friends? Like, it's
just such a weird thing. And then if she comes back and gets on the side of Kendall, then we've got this bumping of heads between the lawyer and Shiv and what's in the best interest of Kendall. And if I were Kendall, I don't know if he cannot see through it. Like, Shiv wants the job too, and she's always going to be gunning for it as well. So to me, it's like you can't have any of your brothers or sisters on this situation.
Yeah, the only thing I think of is like, you could at least promise her something, whatever, COO or something underneath that to like, it's still better than what you have now, because you're not going to get CEO ever in Dad's plan. So it's, there's going to be a lot of combinations, and who knows if they're going to stay, because it's like right now it's like, okay, you got, Kendall, Greg, possibly Frank. It sounds like, he's open to the call. He took the call. Logan's already like, I don't trust you. So it's like, okay, he might jump. And on the other side, Logan, Roman, Tom, maybe like Connor. Who the hell knows where Connor is?
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, you would think, let's see, Greg's grandfather grandfather there, that's Logan's brother, is going to be like, I hate my brother, but I wanted you to drop this thing with him, so maybe I'll join your side and use some money there. It's like, it's very complicated. This whole family is complicated, and it easily could switch back and forth at any point. Like,
of course. Yeah, it's such a good show. Such a good show.
I'm very excited because, we discussed the trailer and coming attractions, and I think only like 90% of what we, saw in the trailer was this episode. So it's like there's going to be a whole other 8 episodes of stuff we haven't even really seen yet. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's great. Excited.
All right.
While Succession leads drama series with 25 nominations, the other nominees include Better Call Saul, Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, and Yellow Jackets. I believe over the last year we discussed each and every one of these shows, including some of them multiple times, and as for Saul, we're hoping to dive deep into that series finale next week. Let's head over to Netflix, which found a surprise hit in the South Korean survival drama Squid Game. Since launching last September, this series has become Netflix's most watched series and has become the first foreign work to be nominated in the Best Drama Series category. The series received 14 nominations, including 1 for lead actor, 2 for supporting actor, 1 for supporting actress, 1 for guest actress, and also nominations in both writing and directing. When we discussed the series in October, in episode 359, we covered multiple episodes, so be warned, spoilers are ahead, but who are we kidding? I mean, we all saw it, so you shouldn't be surprised. Anyways, let's go to our discussion of Squid Game.
We're talking about Squid Game, the series premiere, red light, green light. It dropped on Netflix September 17th. This South Korean survival drama centers on a contest where 456 players, all deeply in debt, play a set of children's games with deadly consequences in hopes of winning the grand prize. So yeah, this series is in Korean, and we're a couple weeks late to this, but we had to discuss it. It is on track right now to become the biggest show in Netflix's history in any language.
Wow.
It's so big, in fact, that in South Korea, Netflix is currently being sued because of the internet usage and the surge of people watching. This thing is big. I mean, it's crossed over. It's global. It's a big deal. So we had to check out the premiere. John, what did you think of the premiere of Squid Game?
Ooh, where do I start? I really like Squid Game. I'm 3 episodes away from finishing the season so far, so I've watched a fair bit.
Stick to the first episode.
I'm gonna
No
try
spoilers.
as hard as I can. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because that's the stuff that makes the show gold. It is weird. There's some weird stuff happening. We're gonna spoil the first episode, I'm assuming,
Yes.
right? We're gonna talk about it. Okay. They're in this game show. It's a children's game, and there's this whole behind the scenes thing happening. It's not just the characters who are playing the game. There's a whole nother thing. It's been really interesting. I'm trying to like make form sentences here. I am really enjoying it. I think that the characters are all really dynamic, and I think that watching it in the original language shows that. I didn't watch it with the English vocal dubs. I watched it with subtitles, but I think that it really shows that you can really feel what they're saying and how they're saying it through that, which I think is great. And there are so many twists and turns. You gotta watch it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I will say I watched the pilot last night. I feel it was a really good episode. I feel like the world feels fully fleshed out. The characters are set up really well. This whole mystery element, we're going along. Like, what is this? How do we get there? We see our main character struggling and gambling on anything he can. On the crane game. You really you get everything set up and why you're going into this world, and then you figure out what the world is, and it's just the production design, the set. They're walking into like this first game, and it's like a colorful labyrinth of this maze, and at points I was like, is this CGI? Is this an intricate set? Like, I couldn't tell. It looks so 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional. It just looks really well made, and I'm really into it. I got a lot of questions. I'll get into them in a minute. But Kyle, what did you think of Squid Game?
Really interesting premise. I will say that it's really, really interesting. I was into it from the start to finish. I think it's really, really cool. The parallels between, what the characters are going through and life and debt and people in power and these struggles of power and what people are willing to give up and addiction and all these themes are kind of running together, that it really is. I think it is so popular because, granted, we've all played those silly child games before, right? But
stakes are a little different.
Yeah, you add in the stakes and then add in all these themes about power and control and all those things, and it makes it for an interesting dynamic. And I think that's why it's so popular, because clearly those things cross.
They're universal.
Country lines. You know what I mean? So it's something that we're all struggling with, and so it's really, really good. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching more. I got some things to think about. These are just some thoughts I had. Maybe I missed something here or there, but some of these questions I have, just to bring up. So we get one of these characters that was a pickpocketer. She's number 67 in the game. Our main character is 465, which makes me think, like, did she play before? Like, can you like play around and then leave the world and then come back in? Because there's also this old guy with number 1 on his uniform. Has he played multiple times and comes back in and out of the world? I don't know. There's this leader, big boss kind of guy who's watching it all. I watched it also in the Korean language, so But I found it interesting that this character was speaking in English, at least in my version. So it's like, why is this one character specifically speaking in English? And like, is he the only one that this game is for? Is it a reality show? Is it the Hunger Games, channel at home? And then there's this random guy that we see at the end of the episode that saves our main character. And it's like, well, why? Like, why did he risk everything for him? Like, who's this going to be?
because it was a life and death situation, and he, stepped up. We'll have to see with that. So I have a lot of. I'm intrigued by everything. I want to know those answers. John, you seem like
what's good. And I won't spoil it for you. Those all get answered.
Okay,
you'll find out. You'll find out
I'm
a lot
glad.
of
I'm excited.
of stuff. So definitely keep watching.
Okay. The thing to me, and I just go into like how because clearly we see at the end they're on some kind of deserted island, right?
Yeah.
And what it brings to my mind is that short story of The Most Dangerous Game, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was thinking of. But like with all of the moving parts and pieces, it's like, how is this a secret? You know what I mean? How do they get them there to this island?
500 plus contestants.
Yeah.
And how many crew members?
Members. And, it could be some like Illuminati thing, but then it gets into like this outlandish thing, which it is kind of outlandish. But I want some degree of like, hopefully they answer that question. Like, how does this guy have this ability to control all of these factors?
There's a lot more questions that you end up wanting to know, but a lot of that stuff gets fleshed out and explored. And without, like, again, I don't want to spoil it for you guys because it's something that I want you guys to experience, but I would totally love to see more of how this came together. Because they kind of go into some of the history of this. Well,
Netflix will make a prequel series. You wait.
I'm hoping so. I honestly and genuinely am hoping so. If they can do it at the same production quality, I think that it would be great. And I think that what they have set up is the perfect basis to both approach where they are and potentially where they're going, depending on how the season ends.
So something else that I thought of when I saw actually just the picture of the workers is that some have circles and some have squares. Is that going to impact how
what they kind
play?
Of show you in the first episode is that there's a little bit of a hierarchy. So it's like circles, triangles, squares, and then the guy in the black mask, I believe, is the hierarchy. So it kind of gets explored a bit more, but they do sort of lay that fundamental down with how the shaped masks guys are interacting with each other in that episode. But that gets fleshed out as well.
It is interesting, and I think for you, Dave, it's almost the behind the scenes I'm going to see, because we haven't gotten to that part, but we know that that's going to have a huge impact on the game too, which is almost like a reality show in and of itself, right? Because it's more behind the scenes than just what you're seeing in front during the gameplay. So I think that's something from the reality show world that I think that you probably liked as well.
The first episode sets up really well the characters playing in the show, but from there forward, it starts to be a lot more about this entire thing, not just the people playing. So you get a lot more.
The world is expanded.
Yes, which I think was a really good choice and works really well and is really interesting.
From one violent show to another, at least this one is billed as a comedy series, and that one is Barry. Barry finally came back for season 3, and while it had its signature dark humor, this latest season was much, much, much darker in tone. Are we sure it isn't a drama? We just discussed the finale and season as a whole in episode 388, so let's go further back where we discussed the season premiere in episode 382. This season, the series earned 14 nominations, including 2 supporting actor nominations and nominations in lead actor, writing, and directing for the series star, Bill Hader. We have another show that took another 3 years to come back, and that's Barry. Season 3, the premiere is Forgiving Jeff. It dropped last night, April 24th. We last saw, 3 years ago when we saw Gene put it all together. I guess I'm spoiling things here. Okay, I'm spoiling. Gene put it all together that Barry killed his girlfriend, Detective Janice Moss, and now Barry's aimlessly looking for hitman work and depressed without anyone to truly turn to. All right, so we all have been watching Barry. I believe John just recently caught up with everything, watched the premiere. So what did you think of the premiere of Barry?
Yeah, I watched both season 1 and 2 and the premiere this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I blitzed through it all. I thought it was pretty good. I was kind of glad to see that. Like for me, I didn't have to wait 3 years, so I think I would have been a little bit more.
A long 3 years.
Yeah, I think I would have been a little bit more upset if I had to wait 3 years. But yeah, I like the character dynamics, and I like that they've had opportunities to get rid of people and they haven't, which is kind of good. I mean, obviously there's a couple of people who, or at least one person who they get rid of in this episode, but like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I want to see more. I don't know if I've let it sink in enough and had 3 years to think about it to really have a super opinion. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I rewatched season 1 and 2 because it's been so long. And rewatching it, I remembered, especially season 2, these episodes they all ended with such like a cliffhanger. Every week it was just like, what? And like literally there's an episode called What? Where Barry yells it in season 2 when, I mean, the cops were never good on this show. I mean, the police department, except for Janice, who actually figured it out. The second guy, when he finally figured it out, pretty much uses it to blackmail Barry to kill his like lover's, new lover kind of thing. And it was just like, and Barry yells, "What?" I thought I was going to jail, and you're gonna hire me for work. But there's always so many cliffhangers, so it's been a long 3 years to get to this point. And Kyle, was it worth the wait?
For the premiere, I like the premiere. I mean, we know Barry is struggling with this like existential dread. I mean, he killed somebody I think he loved Gene because Gene actually changed him.
It's like a father figure.
Yeah, so
better than Fuchs at least. Yeah.
So I think this was tough, and we see what he's going through. They still had some moments of levity with NoHo Hank. That character's still a little weird to me, but overall, I enjoy it. There's the moments on both sides that make this a true comedy drama, and Bill Hader's really good. Everybody does a great job. So, I'm excited to see where the season goes.
Yeah, and I feel like this episode, I mean, the episodes are always like kind of cinematic, but I feel like this one really stepped it up, even from their usual work. There was, a great opening vista with this soul tree that was, like a simple but very memorable shot. There was a cool, like, one-er tracking shot where we see Sally going through the different sets, answering questions. It's just a really well-made show. And this episode, there was a lot of setup. So we don't have too much to go off of yet. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. Definitely, it looks like a time jump here because, Sally's getting successful. Barry is, been really hurting for a while here. He's very depressed. He's using some kind of Hitman marketplace website for work.
Yeah, Hitman marketplace. I love that idea that there's a marketplace for
Yellow Pages, pretty much. Yeah, and even NoHo Hank is turning him away, and that's an interesting relationship because I feel like NoHo Hank is always kind of, at least was friendly with Barry, almost like too much into Barry. And we saw in season 2, he gives him this pin, your debt is paid, everything's good, we're bros. And then Barry uses that pin in the trunk of the car to kind of set up them with the death of Janice. So you would think, NoHo Hank is like, oh, you killed all my men. You blame this on me. I'm in trouble. And you would think, okay, that's it, Barry. And sure, there's a little bit of like, I don't want to see you right now. But he's not ordering any hits or doing anything. Also because Barry knows also a lot of Hank's secrets and a lot of that stuff as well. So it's kind of like they both...
And he doesn't
both are criminals.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any buddies, remember? Yeah. He doesn't have any buddies left. Barry killed all of his buddies.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see. I mean, Barry does have Sally. And Sally is getting very successful. Darcy Carden's character, Natalie, is now her assistant. Looks like there's this show. I guess she's the star of it.
But also like the creator in the star?
Yeah, the creator. I'm guessing it's sort of based on...
Her...
We saw in season 2 the kind of monologue that she was, or the scene she was working on with her relationship with an old boyfriend. that kind of maybe started this whole thing. But it looks like, at least in this show, maybe she has a kid. I don't know exactly what's going on in the show yet, but I will say, I want to ask you guys, does this character, for some reason, I never really got on board with the Sally character, and I never really bought her specifically with that relationship with Barry. And now they're living together. I just never bought it. I don't know. It felt forced, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I like the back and forth with her and Barry, but I can see what you mean. I know what you mean.
It felt very much in the beginning like, you know, she was there with him, then all of a sudden it was like, nope, nothing to do with you. And then all of a sudden, like, yep, let's back on board. You know, so I don't know. It feels very fleeting, I guess, to me, you know?
Yeah, because in this show, I mean, sure, it's season 3, but as you watched it so quickly, John, there's only like 8 episodes a season. They're 30 minutes long, so each season's only like 4 hours. So it's like, it's not as, you know, this will they, won't they, Jim and Pam, you know, for 5-6 seasons or whatever, build up. You know, they got together, they went out, now they're back together and living together. And I will say, the stuff with I really like what they do sometimes with Hollywood and what they make fun of, and like they have this network person asking some of the just dumbest questions, like, so in this scene, so the mom and daughter, they're living together. It's like, yeah, and it's like, did you do that when you and like asking the assistant, I also lived with my mom. Oh, you did? Oh, and you lived with your mom too? Okay, I guess that is normal. Okay.
I think it's just because
I bet that's real. I bet that is a real conversation that they've had.
Because I think it's what
too specific.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is to show you how out of touch like Hollywood executives are from just the rest of the world, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, so real quick, we'll run through the other kind of the 2 father figures in Barry's life. Fuchs, he's the Raven now, and he's being thrown under the bus to take the blame for all the deaths, all the people dying, and he's hiding in Chechnya. I can't even talk tonight. I really hope he's not going to be out there for a while, because I think I need him in LA. I need him interacting with our group. I can't have him off on his own here.
yeah.
I just think it's too good of a performer to just leave him.
For sure.
You know,
he was like one of the MVPs last season. He was so good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is who they're pinning the blame on for the detective's death. But Gene doesn't buy any of it. He's ready to shoot Barry, or at least force him to turn himself in. And, well, a little mistake with that prop gun there.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a little bit of practice with it, but Barry brings him out to the desert, what we saw in that opening scene, and we get this, kind of fake out that shot to the head. We saw it earlier in the episode with Sally. He's imagining all these, shots to the head, but he has another idea. Get in the trunk. So what's his idea? Anyone have any idea? Because I don't know. What is his idea that involves Gene getting in the trunk of his car?
To win back his forgiveness?
Is it the same trunk in where his dying girlfriend was in?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe take him to, I don't know, to somebody who said he had to do the hit or something to prove to him that he wasn't the one that wanted to do it. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. This is what they do. They always do this to us. The one giant cliffhanger. No answers. We have to wait till next week, and we'll see what they explain here. But I'm in the Barry. I think you guys are too.
Yeah. Is this their last season too?
I believe they've been renewed for another season.
Okay.
But please, I'm hoping they did the Atlanta thing and shot a bunch of these, or at least got the scripts ready so we can crank these out instead of having to wait another 3 years. In addition to Barry, 7 other series were recognized in the Outstanding Comedy Series category. Abbott Elementary, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, and What We Do in the Shadows. In episode 362, we discussed the season 11 premiere of Curb, plus we have a mini season review of What We Do in the Shadows in that same episode. While not as dark as Barry, Ted Lasso certainly had a more dramatic sophomore season compared to its first. Last year's comedy series winner is back this year with 20 nominations, which is the most of any comedy series this year. The series received nominations for writing, directing, and 10 total acting nominations. 3 for supporting actor, 3 for supporting actress, 2 for guest actor, one for guest actress, and of course one for series star Jason Sudeikis. Let's head over the Atlantic and with episode 360 where we discussed all of season 2. So again, spoiler alert.
We're talking about the entire season of Ted Lasso. We're going to spoil it. We're going to talk about the finale, Inverting the Pyramid of Success. The entire season ran July 23rd to October 8th, and the Emmy-winning comedy is back. Ted Lasso, an American college football coach, is coaching an English soccer team and must do his best to get his team back into the Premier League. Since we're talking about the entire season, Kyle, I think the easiest thing would try to maybe go character by character because it would be a lot of jumping around if we were doing like by story. So let's start off with our main guy here, Ted Lasso. There was a lot this season. I feel like this season was, you could be summed up with this whole father-son relationships, whether it was Jamie and his dad, Rebecca's dad who passed away, Nate trying to impress his own dad, and then obviously Ted Lasso dealing with these panic attacks sprung from his dad's suicide and also not being there for his own son back in America. So there's a lot of father-son issues. What do you think of this, turn for Ted Lasso, the once optimistic guy dealing with all these panic attacks in season 2?
I thought it was a good way to kind of have some challenge in his life, because I think the whole fact that his family is away from him should have more of an impact on his character and should influence the character more. And we see snippets of it here and there. But I really do think, because we can truly tell in these moments that I think Jason Sudeikis does a good job of acting in, of how much it hurts him to be away. But we only see it in those moments because it's, he's this jovial guy the rest of the time. But I really think if they want to make this a big deal, that should be the front and center of what he's going through. And it's kind of behind the scenes. And I think maybe next year it may make more of an impact, but I don't know. I don't know. But overall, I thought Jason did a really good job with the character. I thought he definitely had some episodes where I think, outside of his normal element or what we normally see of him, I thought he did a really good job. Good job with it. And I liked his interactions with the psychiatrist and how that whole relationship kind of fleshed out,
Yeah, we got this new character, Sharon, who at first was kind of like closed off, not going to open up for this Ted Lasso character to enter the world and, get changed by him. But they end up changing each other. He was so adamant he's not going to do therapy and stuff like that because of past issues. And, we got these moments of like being closed off, which led to these panic attacks, which led to these very emotional monologues that Jason gave and gave some great performances for. But the season really became, at points, a drama. Not only with the content, but with the length. These episodes were getting to be 45, 50 minutes long. They were getting up
so
there,
long.
Which made me like, okay, it was like kind of hard because I sometimes I just want to watch something with lunch or something, but it's like I got to watch these in parts now, and they're getting longer and longer. But yeah, it was becoming a bit dramatic this season, more than I was expecting for a show that was so optimistic and like a giant hug the first season. This season was getting dark.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Our next group is a duo here. We're going to talk about Roy Kent and Keeley. They really like playing with us. I think every week of like, oh, they're together. Oh, are they going to break up?
Yeah.
Oh, Roy's talking with the teacher. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie said I love you. It's like back and forth, and like I don't know. I will say 6 weeks without seeing each other as she starts a new job. Soon after Jamie says I love you, probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be good.
Yeah, there's definitely something lingering in the back there, because I think I would just say it's like a show showing the ups and downs of a couple, but I really do think it's showing the ups and downs of a couple, but also that's on its way out, and hesitancy with each other, because I think between the two of them, they're really, they're there for one another, because most of the characters in the show are there for one another, but something is holding them back. And I don't know if it's Keely's job or, whatever the situation may be, but I think they are hesitant to eventually be with one another. And I don't know, because they started under weird circumstances too, with Jamie and Keely being how they were, and all this situation. So I think there's some hesitancy on both sides, because what's to say like Keely can't go for like a little bit, like a week, or maybe like once the job's full, it's like, or what's to say Roy can't, he's like, they're both rich people. They could probably reschedule this thing. You know what I mean? Or is it just I will say 6 weeks was,
I wish I could take a 6-week holiday. Yeah. I know they're rich, but like that was a lot to presume, Roy, that you're going to take 6 weeks, which is about to start something. Take a weekend.
Yeah.
Like a week. It's like, I feel like the show though, I don't know, like I think they have to, because I don't know what else they're going to do, but I feel like the show kind of, this whole moment in the finale, this kind of peace offering headbutt that Roy Kent gives Jamie, it's like, I feel like, are we going to really open up that wound again so soon for season 3? I'm going to assume we have to, because I don't know what else we're going to do with this love triangle if we don't break it up at some point or bring it back together, or have these moments of, oh, could this be Rocky? Like,
I don't think the show will come out right away and just have them have an affair, because I don't think it's that type of show. But I think Jamie's just going to be lingering there. You know what I mean? And if he's there, it becomes a problem. He really was this season too.
Jamie was really just, I feel like, lingering. He was like a background character this season. It was interesting how he was kind of like, remember he was such a star season 1? He's in the background this season. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about this Roy Kent story. A little bit of a conspiracy theory that Roy Kent is not real, but he's actually a CGI character. Do you see this?
No, I did not see this. This is ridiculous.
They think this guy is such a cartoon that he's literally a cartoon. That he's not actually actor Brett Goldstein. It's actually just a CGI character named Roy Kent.
He does a good job with the character. It's funny. Yeah.
Emmy Award winning.
Yeah.
But we actually, because the thing was so big, Brett Goldstein actually released a video to hey, I'm real, guys. Don't worry about it. Here is the video that was played to prove that he is not a CGI character.
I just want to clear up something once and for all. I am a completely real, normal human man who just happens to live in a VFX house and does normal human basic things like rendering and buffering and transferring data.
So I don't know if you saw that. You have to be watching the Twitch stream for that, but what is it? The emoji, it's a specific Apple emoji that they have where you can, when you FaceTime, it can move with you there. But playing along with it, Brett Goldstein. But crazy.
Yeah, he is a character, man.
Yeah. All right, our other duo we should talk about, because while it wasn't really about Jamie this season, the player that we got a lot of was Sam, between the oil spill and the sponsorship of the team, him possibly leaving the team to go off with Sam Richardson's character. And then this whole relationship on this dating app with his boss, Rebecca. Thoughts on this relationship, Kyle?
I actually, at first, oh my God, that episode where you see that happening, you're like, this is going to be so cringy. And you're like, no. But then once it eventually happens, I think the show did a good job. And it's something to honestly look forward to, I actually liked them together, and I thought it worked. I thought it worked fine. I was actually rooting for them to come out the other side, but I know that there's just no way. I mean, the age difference of Boston,
the age, the power dynamic,
there's just no way this is gonna happen ever. So, But I was actually rooting for them because I thought it was an interesting idea, because I thought the show did a good job of setting up a little fake out where you thought it was Ted and Rebecca talking, because there's something going on there too between them, right? There's something there as well. So I thought it was a nice fake out. I wonder when they're gonna, put the Ted and Rebecca thing. When that's going to come through, because we also know Rebecca's friend is into Ted too, so that the whole dynamic.
A lot of love triangles on this show. A lot that's going to happen in season 3, which could be the show's. The original plan was 3 seasons. Everything was mapped out with a 3-season arc for all these characters. Obviously, Apple would not want this. Apple would want this for another 6 years.
Yeah,
but it's up to Jason. Does he want to, be in London for half the year and be away from his family in America? I don't know.
Yeah.
But Rebecca this season, I feel like this was kind of led to some of the discourse here, because the first season, she was kind of the antagonist. She was kind of the villain of season 1. But this season, nice, positive, happy, and like, because she changed from season 1 to season 2.
Uh-huh. And
the episode, I think, that encapsulates all that is the episode that was probably most talked about was the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We got Ted and Rebecca giving around presents to everyone, teaming up. And this came out right at the height of like the discourse this season. We've mentioned it on the podcast before, and I don't know what it is, if it's just because this episode was so positive and happy and optimistic, even though that's what everyone loved about the first season.
It was just too much.
It just might have just been overkill.
Yeah.
And I really do wonder if it was something with the way it was released this season, between the binge versus the weekly release. Because many people binge season 1. I binge season 1 in like a week or 2. So when I was now waiting week after week to see the story slowly unfold, and then all of a sudden one week it's like, here's a standalone Christmas episode. It's like, no, I want the storyline with the dating app. I want the storyline about Ted's panic attack. It's like, nope, we're taking a break. We're doing this positive thing for a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I wonder if this was, watched in a binge, if it would play differently and there wouldn't be that discourse that we had in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think it was also just too much. Like, it was saccharine sweet rather than just like the normal sweetness we'd come to expect with Ted Lasso. So yeah, there were a few episodes like that where I wasn't, fully invested in. The other one that got me was the funeral one. Like, they're basically rickrolling themselves here,
Yeah, they were.
You know what I mean? So, which is a joke in and of itself, but I was like, this is too much for me. So, there was a couple of moments within the season that I thought was a little bit too much, but overall, I thought it was still okay.
Yeah, Twitter really was going into it in the middle of the season, which made me think, is there going to be an issue with the Emmys? Because it's right around Emmys voting too, and it was just like, and it's funny because, it's so positive. Oh, there's no conflict. It's like, this is the same season that started with literally killing a dog. Like, they killed the dog within the first few minutes of the premiere.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's too positive. It's too nice. And it's just funny how it's just like, did we forget about that moment? Did we forget about the crying that Ted Lasso's doing over his dad? Like, but if we're talking about being too nice, well, we had the exact opposite in our final character we're going to be talking about, Nate.
This one is weird, and I have to ask you, did you see the, like, before the last few episode arc where they really hammered it home, like, I was at a loss. I didn't know why he was feeling this way. Like, I didn't think Ted Lasso abandoned him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like he was just getting all the recognition from Twitter and all these other like entities. Yeah. And so he was like, hey, I can be the big man in charge. And so honestly, it was just like his selfishness to me, his selfishness and his ego that got involved in making him think that he's like this awesome human being, you know?
Yeah. For me, it's definitely the Wonder Kid going to his head, and it's taking it out on players, and it's just like, it's the thing we see in Hollywood of interns are treated like garbage. So then when they rise up and through the ranks and then they become the executive, it's like they can either A, choose to be a better person, or B, I dealt it or I got it, so I'm going to deal it now.
Yeah.
And that's what he did to the other guy that kind of took over his job. And when he first was telling his story in the finale, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where he's coming from a little bit, because Nate was his pet project in season 1. That was who Ted Lasso was changing and making a better person. And then season 2 was kind of like, I'm moving on to my next person I got to change. I got to work on the therapist. I got to work on this person. So it was almost like a meta take. It's like, dude, you forgot about me. I wasn't. But then when he just starts losing it at Ted and going at him and just being so rude, and the team even wins, tears up the sign for no reason whatsoever, just to be a jerk. I was at a loss. I'm like, screw you. I don't to think you earn all this, like you deserve all this.
Yeah.
When literally a year ago you were the towel boy. You're like, and now you're in charge. Like you're a coach. You're up there with Ted.
Yeah. When he elevated you to that status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got you there, and then instead, he's the one who leaked the story to Trent about the panic attack. And I will admit, like, you're the expert when it comes to sports, Kyle. Would it really be the top page story in every single newspaper in all of England? Because I know he's a popular coach, but it's also isn't this team not in the Premier League this season? They're actually like the level below or whatever. Yeah. So it wouldn't be like whatever with baseball, like, oh, it's the AAA team versus the triple. It's like.
Yeah, it probably would have been a big story, but I don't think it would have been a huge one. And maybe it would have, because of how mental health is talked about and how people think it's important nowadays. If we've never seen a coach leave because they had a panic attack, so it would be. I think it would be pretty big news. And despite them being one level low, you'd be surprised in England they take that level very, very seriously. So I think it would have been pretty popular news, but would it have been like front page of everything? Probably not. It probably would have been a big section in the sports section, and one of those things that talking heads talk about, because there's nothing else. 24-hour sports news cycle, they need something to talk about, Yeah,
that's true. But the end of the season, Nate is going to be coaching for the rival team that Rebecca's ex-husband has now bought. So, it's going to be, and it's like, okay, I'm going to guess, it's if it is a 3-season arc for him, he's going to be positive and good by the end of season 3 or something. He's going to admit he was wrong. But I don't know if you noticed, because the whole season, I was like, what is going on with his hair? The entire season, jet black hair in the premiere. By the end, it was white. And it's just like, is it the stress? Is it he just going for a different look? Like, what
Silver
was going
Fox,
on?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
man. I will say the rival.
He did a great job. The actor who plays Nate, because for you to love to hate him, that means the actor's doing such a good job. But yeah,
I did. I was so frustrated by how he was being such a dick, honestly. But I will say, with Ted Lasso, I mean, Apple TV money has got to be flowing, because they're using like the West Ham United. That's a legit team. So the budget for paying those things has to be pretty large. You're using premiership level. And I mean, I know that's recognition for the teams, but I know to use the likenesses of those sports and their clubs and everything, it costs a pretty penny.
And while I will say Roy Kent is not CGI, there's actually a lot of CGI and video effects in this show that we don't see. Pretty much like all the fans are fake. Like none of them are actually there, especially even before COVID. They wouldn't, season 1, they were CGIing most of the fans in a lot of the effects. But yeah, it's not a cheap show. And I think season 3, they all got bumps because of how well it's doing for the service and all the Emmys and stuff. I don't have too much to say about this last character, because I still don't know what to think of him as a character, to be honest. He got a solo episode this season, but Coach Beard, he's a character where I feel like I know even so little about him after the solo episode. He's a man of few words. Yeah. And I don't know how he would react in situations. Still, to this day, when something happens, I'm like, oh, is he gonna like this? Is he gonna hate this? Like, is he gonna freak out? Is he not gonna say anything? I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people like Coach Beard. I'm just like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So like the solo episode didn't really click with me. It was cool to try something different, but yeah, I'd rather get back to the main show.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was an interesting episode, a little bit different than what they did prior. But yeah, I'm with you. I can take him or leave him. But I do think he's the support network behind Ted Lasso. So I think that's why he's an important character. And I think he's kind of in touch with what's going on because he knew Nate was a guy that was being a real D-bag to everyone. So, and he kind of called it, you know. So it is just interesting. A man of few words, but I think, you know, recognizes... I guess his fatal flaw is he can recognize, supports everyone else and can recognize all the things around him, but can't even recognize the own problems that he's facing in his own life, I guess is how you could look at it.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens in season 3 with his character and what happens with the rest of the show.
So we covered drama. We covered comedy. Let's head over to the very competitive, outstanding limited or anthology series category. Despite it being so competitive, we only have 5 nominees, and they are Dopesick, The Dropout, Inventing Anna, Pam and Tommy, and The White Lotus. Poor Midnight Mass and Station 11, those should be in here instead of 1 or 2 of these other shows, and as for which ones, you'll have to listen to the Emmy nomination reaction show to find out. With all that being said, there are some favorites here still, including The White Lotus, which was a surprise hit last summer and earned 20 nominations, including nominations in writing, directing, original main title theme music, which you should be grooving to right now, and 8 in acting. It's practically the entire ensemble was recognized in some way. We discussed the series twice, once for the premiere in July, and again in August for the entire series. Let's head over to that latter discussion from episode 352. I really hope Armand was able to get us that pineapple suite for this discussion.
The White Lotus, season 1 now. It was a miniseries, now it's a season. We're going to talk all about the season, including the finale, Departures, which aired on August 15th. So obviously spoilers are ahead. We talked about the premiere in 350. In this series, created, written, and directed by Mike White, it follows the vacations of various hotel guests over the span of a week as they try to relax and rejuvenate in paradise. All right, John, what did you think of season 1, The White Lotus?
Well, I think my initial thoughts was I wasn't sure where it was going, and I was kind of just a little bit lost. I think up until episode 5, that kind of stuck where I was enjoying it, but I was kind of like, what's going on? It's just friction between family members and a little bit between other families, but episode 5 and episode 6 really lit a little bit of a fire, I feel like, under it, and really scoped and shaped the what happens. We won't get into the ending yet, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and I know we're going to talk about its renewal, but I'm looking forward to its renewal, and I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think going into this show, I was definitely into it. I was worried because it's certainly like a vibe show. It's a show for the most part, except for like episode 5 or 6, that it was not really too worried about plot. It was more about character and the vibe and just being in that world. So it's like, oh, is this really gonna work? And from what I heard of the show, it was produced really quick. I think he even like admitted that a lot of these were like kind of first drafts that Mike wrote and immediately put into production because HBO called him. Hey, we need a show. Do you have anything, Mike? Anything that we can shoot during COVID? Like, yeah, I think I got something, and wrote it, shot it, boom, bang, boom. It's just, so I was like, okay, is this gonna stick the landing? And overall, I got a couple things, but I think that was issues with the finale, but I think that's more of me
caring about these characters in a certain way, less about like how it was presented, more about like the choices. But I mean, that's all my own personal opinion. We'll get to that. But before we get there, Kyle, thoughts?
I agree with both of you. I think this is all basically a character-driven show. If you don't like the characters, I don't think you're going to like the show, because the story, even until the end, I don't think there's much like meat to the story. It's very, there's not much there to the story, but the characters are what keeps you tuning in. And the script, I mean, even if they are first drafts, I mean, every single character, I've either seen that person out in the world, or I know somebody that's like that. And all of them had like these wild lines where it's like, yeah, I've heard people say that. This is, he's with these characters, he's just done such a great job of it, encompassing like a lot of things about society right here, because you're seeing both the rich people and the workers and that dynamic. And, I just think overall it's really, really well done. And I was interested the whole time.
Yeah. I thought there was a good balance between all the characters, and he came up with nice ways for these actors and characters from different families to interact. I mean, because it's like you can't be like, oh, they're all just gonna hang out together. It's like, no, they're separate groups, but they found ways for each one to kind of have a scene together and bounce off each other and like get something from each other. I mean, you're seeing one marriage, the Connie Britton and her husband, those characters get stronger over the course of the season, and then you got another marriage, the Jake Lacey and his wife, getting weaker, and they're interacting, like the wife's talking to the husband of the one of the other, and you're kind of getting like, oh wait, is that me in 20 years? Is that gonna? It's so it connected really well, all the different pairings and the thing that he set up. One thing that kind of helped one marriage get stronger was this robbery, the botched robbery in episode 5. I think we could spend a little bit of time on this specific scene. This was tense.
Yeah.
This was like, oh my god, like the whole thing.
Because I mean, you feel bad for everyone involved. You feel bad for this dude. He's in a position of, he didn't want to even do it in the first place, and then you feel bad for the girl because she put him in this position, but unknowingly. And like even like the mom and Steve Zahn's character, like it ended up working in their favor, but it's like they had to, go through this as well. It's just, oh man, the entire thing just tough.
I think that both the girl and the guy who did the robbery are a little foolish.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna rob someone and they're like, oh yeah, they're gone at 3 and they're going scuba diving, like wait till 3:30.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you run in there? A, and then B, he's like trying to cover up his face and all this, but he has a uniform on.
That was my issue. He had his work shirt on.
Nobody said anything. At least take your shirt off and like hide your tattoo, or like something. But
this is a nice hotel. You can't tell me that there's not cameras in the hallways.
Of course.
And on top of that, he's trying to leave, and obviously he bumps into the wife, and then he's trying to leave. He's trying to subdue her, and gets surprised by the husband. That's 2 people he's surprised for, and after that he's running out, and before he's out the door, he's taking his mask off. You don't know how many more people are there. Yeah. Like I just the choices, I feel like we're not great.
Silly,
But I'm not robbing anybody, so I guess I have the post site to critique.
And the other reason why it was so tense is, they kind of did this hook in the first episode that somebody's going to die. Mm-hmm. And I was reading an article with like Mike White, and he was kind of like, why do you put that in? It's just like, he's like, I'm going to be honest, like most of my shows I think are kind of like, more like, low rated, critically watched shows. But all the shows nowadays, they have this hook, and it's like, well, maybe this hook will, help this series get people in. Yeah. And then, like it'll be a technique to get people to watch. But like this whole time you're like, oh my God, is it going to be him? Is it going to be the father? Is like is this where the moment happens? Yeah. And so, but there was like a lot of other red herrings.
Yeah, there were a lot of other moments. I mean, there were tons of other. You're like, is the teenage boy going to drown in the water on the canoe? Is like Armand, I thought he gonna have an overdose, or just like something like that. So it's just
you got Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite constantly coughing.
Yeah. Is that guy gonna
You got
die?
the dad with the initial cancer scare. And so you're constantly tense watching the show. Like, who is it? Is this it? Is this the moment? And then we get Chekhov's pineapple knife, and that was what did him in. And Armand, on the eve of maybe getting fired, we didn't know for sure, but he goes to the person he's been fighting with all week. He goes to Shane's place, the pineapple suite, leaves a gift for Shane in his suitcase, a parting gift. I gotta be honest, do we really need to see this?
I thought it was hilarious. I didn't need to see it.
Do we need to see that angle twice?
I don't know if we need to
I'm
see it
fine with
twice.
seeing it. I'm fine with seeing it in the suitcase, but seeing the side angle twice, that's a choice. That was a choice.
It was a choice.
But
It was a weird
so
choice. I don't know why they showed it. I wondered the same thing because the job could have been done with him groaning and looking into the mirror, and then
we see the outcome later. Yeah. But it really is kind of like this weird irony that he finally got the pineapple suite because there's a knife in there at the pineapple suite. He ends up getting a stab to the chest here from Shane. So what do you think? As Armand being the dead body, we end up getting sent back to America, I guess the mainland. Did this all work out for you guys?
I liked Armand before he started going a little haywire.
I really liked him too. I love that character.
Yeah.
I love that character.
I'm kind of sad, and I know, like I said, we're going to get into the renewal and all that later, but I was really hoping that season 2 would be the same hotel with him, and him being kind of like almost like a chronicle of his guests, and that's what I was kind of hoping it would be. But obviously we're not going to get that. But
I was hoping that instead of getting fired, he was going to get like transferred to maybe like a colder hotel or something like this, where it's not the greatest spot, and he gets like transferred there, and we follow him at whatever new hotel he's working at. That's what I was hoping for, but obviously he's not going to be making it unless it's a prequel. I don't know, but he's not going to be there. I am curious about Shane though. I mean, I don't know the laws, but I feel like there's a little bit of a self-defense argument. I mean, there's a drugged up man that broke into his room, but he's also the manager, and like, he did stab him, and it's like, is this just a case of, I mean, he's rich, he's white, that's why, because he's waiting for his plane at the airport the next day. It's not like he's in a jail cell or waiting trial or anything.
I thought that's
going back home.
I thought that's what manslaughter was, when you don't mean to kill somebody, and it happens. Like I guess.
I mean, maybe he posted bail. Like, I don't know.
I guess it comes down to if he was negligent or not. But there is some self-defense to it, because I mean, he heard a noise. He knew
there was a robbery the day before.
So it's possible. But I mean, I know it would have been a lot harder for that person in real life rather than just the ease with which we saw him go through on TV. But I think for TV, it makes sense. Knowing who he is as a character, knowing his parents and stuff have money, maybe they do let him off the hook.
Yeah, can we talk about the parents for a second? The mom, Molly Shannon.
She does a great
joining
job.
The honeymoon. Oh, she was great, but man, I'm with his wife there.
Yeah.
Like, why is she here?
Yeah.
Why is she here, man? It's your honeymoon.
I know. It's
your mom's here.
Weird. So weird. But I was just so impressed by Molly Shannon's portrayal of the character, because it's like, my God, you could see it, can't you? You can just, I
am one of the things I was like bummed about with the finale, and this is completely just my thoughts and wishes for the characters. It's nothing about like how with the finale specifically, but like I was kind of bummed that they got back together.
Well, do we know that they're together? I mean, they could just be consoling each other after the terrible couple days.
The way like she said, "I'll be happy," and it's just like pretty much saying like, I'll make it work. I'll make this marriage work. And it's like, that's not. Yeah. You're still doomed. It's not going to be a long lasting marriage, and I'm sure like maybe in a month or a year it's still gonna end. But I feel like the idea, like, yeah, I'll be happy. I'll try, and it's just like,
And
no. It's,
what I'm glad that they did is they showed that the final shot was on her face, and you could clearly tell from that reaction that, you know, her feelings haven't changed. It's just, you know, maybe it could be the circumstance. He just stabbed somebody. Maybe she feels like, maybe it's like when your significant other's parents die or somebody else in the family dies, and you're like,
it's like, is she gonna be happy?
Yet.
Is she gonna be happy hearing the person he killed was the poor guy that she was literally at the dinner, like, just leave the poor guy alone? And it's like, okay, an hour later he killed him. Like, sure, it was an accident, but he still killed him after terrorizing him all week.
I mean, it's possible maybe that guy changes after he stabs somebody, but knowing from life, people like that, it's probably like, you know,
especially if he did get away with it. It's like, I literally got away with
other
murder.
person's fault. He probably wouldn't, but I don't know. Killing somebody probably changes your perspective on life, I guess.
Probably, right, John? Okay.
No comment. No comment.
John under the bus.
Oh my God.
That's just okay.
My lawyer said I can't say anything more. Sorry.
All right. Let's see. One last kind of like character I want to talk about with the finale is Quinn, the young boy. He wants to stay in Hawaii. Who could blame him? And he runs back at the airport gate back to Hawaii to, you know, row his boat around. But there's two things. First of all, the parents, why do you have this behind you? Like, you knew he was planning, like, you knew he wanted to stay. Why don't you either stay in line together or have him go first? Like, that's one. And then two, what's the over-under here? It's less than 24 hours, right, before the police and the family get him back, right? Because it's like...
I'm going to say less than an hour.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't just get off the plane. Like, we don't have any indication they didn't. Like, you know, if they're saying they're going to take off, and you can get off up until the end. I think. You just can't get back on.
The only thing I could think of is like it's the Home Alone thing of like the parents are in first class, the kids are in coach, and it's like, oh, you know, and then it's like, but still, it's
they only have like 2 kids. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah. So like it's just funny that it's like, oh, you made it. It's like now, like literally within an hour, the police are going to be swarming your boat to like pick you up. But
there were, I mean, up until the end, actually, I have all of these characters. There was something like severely wrong with them, and I think it's like morally, like they're all up. But I think this boy, just trying to live his life. His dad's telling him all the dirty secrets of like his family, and he's like the only redeeming character that could like.
He got off his phone. He's living life.
Yeah, but everyone else, it's like, God, you're like stabbing each other in the back. You want her, but the craziest thing was there's a lot of crazy characters, but remember in the first episode, I said that I wasn't sure if the daughter wanted the friend, but she definitely did. And I think that's why she was trying to steal each of her boyfriends, because she was upset that she couldn't have her and then try to piss her off by sleeping with the dudes. Oh, God.
And then you got Jennifer Coolidge kind of like leading on the worker there about, you know, her spot that she was trying to build. There's so much bad about these characters, but it's like Succession, you're kind of like still watching them and enjoying them. It's like this weird line
because
they're
multifaceted. I mean, this show is all about the character development, and that's what makes it, I think, so good. Yeah.
So originally this was supposed to be a miniseries. It was designed for COVID shooting, but then season 2 was ordered last week. It's going to tell the story though of a different group of travelers during their stay at another White Lotus property. So it's not going to be, in Hawaii. At least it doesn't sound like it. It's not going to be with these characters. A new group of characters, a new property. I'm into this idea. I think this could be a lot of fun, especially depending on the location, what you can mine from it. Like I mentioned, Jennifer Coolidge mentions Aspen, that she wants to go on a trip to Aspen. That could be a cool one, a ski resort kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe Paris. Like just go like to all these different places around the world to kind of see different areas. And I would be personally interested if maybe like one character returned? We mentioned the manager, which doesn't seem possible at this point, but like, what if Jennifer Coolidge character comes back for season 2 or whoever, and we get her with all these new people at a new resort? I think that could be fun. Are you guys excited for season 2 if, when it comes around?
Definitely interested, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see it. If the characters are as good as they were in this first season, then I'm all about it. And I mean, Armand, that character is just so charming. You just hope that there's something equal in the next season. But as far as your suggestion of Jennifer Coolidge, I love her, but I hated that character. I did not.
That wasn't my favorite character. I was just trying to think of, like, she mentioned Aspen. Yeah. That would make sense. It's just like, the family of 4, that's a lot to bring back. Jake Lacey and his wife, they're not making it, so it's like, well, who's left? Not Armand. So I guess, but as long as we have the soundtrack, I mean, this soundtrack of this series, the theme music, I think they should like kind of rework it maybe a little bit to fit the locale. Obviously, this is very, specific to Hawaii. I think keep the same melody put into, I think, because the soundtrack was so great, the tenseness of it, that was one of the highlights. I think whoever did that definitely should be awarded come award season next go around.
Well, because it was so suspenseful. That with the thematic elements of the ocean crashing on the beach, so all that worked. It worked well for the story they were trying to sell.
Hulu really had quite the year with limited series. It has 3 of the 5 nominees in this category with Dope Sick, The Dropout, and Pam and Tommy. Plus, they also had Candy, the girl from Plainville. While personally I enjoyed The Dropout a bit more than Pam and Tommy, let's jump to that show because it had a strong showing on Emmy nomination morning with 10. These noms include 3 acting noms for stars Lily James, Sebastian Stan, and Seth Rogen, but surprisingly nothing for the voice work from Jason Mantzoukas. I mean, if you know, you know. We discussed the season as a whole in episode 376. Let's go to our discussion of the series premiere in episode 373, all the way back in February. All right, Pam and Tommy, the series premiere, Drilling and Pounding was the name of the first episode. There was also 2 other episodes. I know I've seen 3, John's seen 3, I think Kyle's seen 2 or 3. Yeah. So we're going to probably talk about all of them that have come out on February 2nd, but we're probably mostly going to focus on that premiere episode because there's a lot to talk about there. But this biographical drama miniseries chronicles the marriage between Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee and the release, of course, of their infamous sex tape. All right, John, why don't you start us off? Pam and Tommy.
I mean, I think the fact that all 3 of us saw all 3 available episodes stands for something. I know there are plenty of weeks where we come in here and say that we barely slogged through an episode of a TV show. So the fact that we all sat down and watched all 3 kind of speaks. I was very surprised, very, very surprised at Seth Rogen's performance. I don't really follow his stuff. I know him as Weed, like that's all I know him from.
That was good.
Yeah, not too bad. That and what was that food one? Meat Party? I don't remember.
Sausage
Party, right. Those are the 2 things I know him from that, and I know him as the weed guy who laughs. Like, that's all I know him for. So I was really surprised to see him in this role doing a good job. I enjoy his character. I think that he's doing a great job, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Besides that, I think they're doing a great job setting things up. I think maybe one of my little critiques of it would be the timeline doesn't seem to be cut straight through, so I think we get like little flash forwards and backs, and they're not always clear to me as to where we are in time. But I
hear you. There was points in with the stuff with Seth Rogen and his porn star girlfriend. There, I was like, wait, when is this? Oh, this 5 years ago. Oh no, this is 5 years later. And yeah, there was points where I'm like, wait, when is this exactly? In the sex tape stuff.
Even that the second episode was almost entirely all a flashback from the first one. So like I was I watched that whole episode and I enjoyed it, but I was waiting for when are we getting back to normal time? When are we getting back to normal? And it didn't for the whole episode. And the episode ended, I was like, oh, weird, okay. But I didn't enjoy it any less. It's just it was something that I was kind of a little confused on. But yeah, otherwise I really enjoyed it, and I know that we'll dive a little bit deeper. But usually now we throw to Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I watched all 3 episodes. I like how they've kind of made Seth Rogen's character the main emphasis of the story, because I feel like that is where the meat of this story is. It's not so much Pam and Tommy. I mean, we know who they are, but they're just kind of almost bystanders in this story, which is cool because I'm seeing a character I wasn't familiar with, and what's his backstory, and how did all this happen. And what I'm gathering from the first 3 episodes, just from what the show I think is trying to tell me, that Tommy Lee stinks, dude. He sucks to everyone.
Well, yeah.
Like Pam and
well, there's
this
points
dude.
with like Pam where it's like it's almost like he's like, at least from the bits I remember, it's like he's almost like too nice with Pam at like, I'm like, is this real? Like, is this what's really happening? When he makes the big dinner for her, and it's just like, you know, he seems like a loving boyfriend here, but I'm sure that's not how this story ends.
Yeah,
like,
because when they were talking about children, I don't know if it was just the way it was acted. It didn't seem like he was really invested in it. And she's like talking about all this stuff, and it just, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't like that particular performance. But I feel like in this specific story, like Pam Anderson is kind of like a victim or a bystander to everything that just happened, you know?
Well, yeah, because I have a little bit of I don't know if it's a nitpick or an issue with kind of the first episode and the Rogen stuff, and how kind of, that Pam is this bystander in this story that completely, derailed her life. Yeah. But I want to say, because John just put up the photo, I'm going to start off with a pro of just the actors and the makeup and everything. Lily James and Sebastian Stan. I'm not a Pam and Tommy expert. I'm not that familiar with Lily James and Sebastian Stan, so I don't know. I can't really see which one between the other. But there's points where I'm like, that's Pam Anderson, and that is Tommy Lee watching this show. Like, it's scary how good some of this makeup and the acting and the voices and all that stuff is doing. It really brings me into that world. Like, okay, this is real. What they're creating there. And
I just want to add on to that. I think John's point of Seth Rogen being a great actor in this, in that when you see Rogen's face, you don't get pulled out of it. You get sucked even more into it. So sorry, I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And the thing I had an issue with Rogen, at least in the first episode, with how the show is giving me Rogen, is at first I'm like, okay, we're going to see the motivation of why Rogen stole this tape to begin with. And Tommy's a jerk. He's a complete jerk. But like, okay, this is Rogen and how he was wronged by Tommy. And there was points, though, I felt like it kind of gave him like a sympathetic feel, where it's like we're getting a flashback to his childhood of him being belittled, and all the music, you know, that the sad music as we see his crummy little apartment. And it's sure, he's a guy down on his luck, but he also at the same time did this crime against, you know, 2 unsuspecting people, one of which we see is, it's a clear jerk. But then I just felt like the tone was off, and I actually spoke to 2 or 3 people after the episode, and they kind of agreed, where it's like, are we giving him motivation, or are we giving him sympathy? And I don't know, from a show's perspective, sympathy is the right thing, because even in that first episode, Pam didn't really speak a full sentence, I don't believe, in episode 1 at all. Like, she is a complete nothing in the first episode. She's barely there. But then I just watched episode 3 last night, and the show does this weird, I don't know what to think of it, where she's getting ready for this big monologue. She's very excited. She wants to be seen more of an actress, people looking at her face instead of at her body. And she says this line, and then we cut to her waking up. She goes to do the alarm clock. We see her topless. She immediately walks into the bathroom, still topless. And it's like, what is the show trying to show us there? Where it's like the character in the show is telling us, I want to be more than just my body. And then immediately the show is like,
Nope.
Here's my body. So it's like this weird. I'm hoping. I think this show is going to be something that we got to like watch all 8 episodes of to get like the full story of what they want us to take away from this.
Yeah.
Because is it going to be something like OJ or the Monica Lewinsky crime story that we saw, where they're saying something about this and the people involved?
Yeah, and
that's what I'm going to wait to see.
Yeah, and I mean, based on Nick Offerman's character, we could easily see Rogan getting, derailed from his cut of this thing that's bad for. Basically, I don't think there's going to be any heroes in this story, because we're dealing with something that was stolen and taken from somebody, and physically with the tape, and then like mentally and emotionally is a whole nother thing. And clearly, I don't think this is going to work out well for Rogan's character. I don't think it's going to. We know it's not going to
definitely doesn't work out for
Pam and Tommy. So, it's one of those things where the wheels get put in motion, and maybe if anybody wanted to stop it, it's just not going to. Because I mean, they were even worried about saying out loud that they had a tape like this.
Yeah.
And they even mentioning
all the producers that they went to, it's like, you have a release? No.
Yeah.
Like, well, then don't even think about coming to my office. Like, this is, and the other kind of, I guess, nitpick I feel like the pilot just took a long time to get going. The second episode, when we got the first meet kind of between the two, was a little bit more exciting, I feel like, for me, kind of seeing their backstory. And I wish so much like we can kind of combine those into like a special hour-long combo episode, because it's like, after that first episode, it's like, I know the inside and out of Tommy's house. Like, I know the construction plan, the way the wood he's using in the construction. It's like, this is too much construction detail for me. I don't need all this specifics. Meanwhile, I didn't have any Pam in the first episode, and then we got more in the second. So I wish we kind of reorganized those 2 episodes a bit more. But I will say, that second episode, though, we got to talk about it, guys. The scene of Tommy's Tommy, voiced by Jason Mantzoukas, of course. Perfect. To me, it's wild to think about this little fact here. Internationally, they don't have Hulu, other countries. Instead, they have kind of a hub inside Disney Plus called Star. So for other countries, Pam and Tommy is airing on Disney Plus.
Wow. That is hilarious. Wow. I wonder if it's like password protected or something inside.
I would hope so. Any thoughts on the CGI here and what we saw and the voiceover and everything?
I mean, there's a lot of prosthetics happening for sure, but it's strange, but I mean, the only reason I think we can buy into it is because the crazy character that Tommy Lee is. You go like, okay, he would have a conversation with his penis. And his penis would talk back to him, especially with how many drugs Tommy
Jason
Lee is in.
Mantzoukas,
You know?
Yeah.
So
that's perfect casting. I don't know if there's it wouldn't be like, I don't know, a guest actor in a voiceover role, but this is Jason Mantzoukas still lose. But one little other thing that was just random, I just remembered from the pilot episode, we get this kind of, the only really lines that Pamela Anderson had was with this Jay Leno appearance. And I don't know if it must have been some kind of rights legal issue, because we've seen so many, going back to OJ or, the Monica Lewinsky season of American Crime Story, where they will use real journalists and comedians of the time in the coverage of their contemporary show. So I was almost surprised we didn't get Lily James sitting next to the original footage of Jay Leno from the 90s, or even deep faked Lily James's face onto the scene from this interview. Because it's like, we could do this in Forrest Gump back in 94. Yeah. We can't do this now in 2022. But
we can
it must have been a legal
Superman's
issue.
Mustache. We can get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, because automatically it's like when you have a performance that Lily James and Sebastian Stan are doing so well as those characters, this guy who's doing Jay Leno, it's like, not working for me. It's pulling me out. But,
yeah, not a great
all right.
Jay Leno.
Anything else on Pam and Tommy? I think we're all going to be keeping up with the series.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm glad it's kind of at least meeting expectations, because I was excited about the show, and I'm glad it's going in a different direction than I originally thought. I thought it would be more focused on Tommy and Pam, but now those other characters involved are really, really good and interesting.
Okay, that's it for today, but that doesn't cover all the Emmy-nominated shows that we have discussed on the podcast. We have discussed other nominees not nominated for the big three, including Atlanta, Impeachment, American Crime Story, Under the Banner of Heaven, The Book of Boba Fett, Hawkeye, How I Met Your Father, I Think You Should Leave, Loki, The Problem with Jon Stewart, Schmigadoon, Survivor, Winning Time, and so many more. All those episodes, plus our nomination reaction special, are available on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, the blog, and of course Twitch. 2 weeks from now, we hope to have our annual predictions, and then 2 weeks after that, we will break down all the winners and big moments from the ceremony on NBC. In between all that, we have a lot of big shows to cover, including the series finale of Better Call Saul, the series premieres of House of the Dragon and Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, plus we need to settle up our summer box office draft before we start the fall Oscar movie season. But that's it. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dual Redundancy, so you can find out when we go live, what we are covering, and how you can get involved with the show. I gotta thank both Kyle and John tonight. Kyle for always bringing those takes, even though they're more lukewarm this time around. After we reheated them from the first time we heard them. And then of course John, for clipping this show together, putting all the puzzle pieces one at a time together, I couldn't do it without either of them. But that's it. That's all we got for this year's Emmy Coverage Clip Show episode. Until next time, I'm David Allen. Goodbye, everybody.